Morning. You join me in the garage to continue the strip down, the Africa Twin. So if you've been watching so far, I've made quite a lot of progress. We're down to the bare essentials. Let's do a quick tour. Let's show you where we are now. So as you can see, it's not the bike it used to be. Very much stripped down, everything off. Main wiring harness is off. Foot pegs are off on this side, still got them to come off the other side. It's probably going to be easier to talk about the things that remain on, isn't it? Carburettors are still on. They need to come off. The swing arm is still on. That's the bit I'm working on next, really. So these suspension linkages here underneath, don't know how well you can see those. I just tried one of those bolts last night, semi-seized, not looking great. So that's going to be the job this morning. As you can see, shock absorber, very much in need of refurbishment. Everything else from the back end is stripped off. The front sprocket there, I've loosened the two main bolts, so that's ready to come off. I've still got fuel filter, fuel piping on there, carburetor, shock absorber, and then it's just going to be front wheel yokes off. Already got the handlebars off. So that's where we are. I'd say we're probably 70–75% through the strip down, something like that. So that's about where we are today. I'll put one camera back on the tripod, continue with the time-lapse stuff, and I'll try and get some close-ups today of trying to get these bolts freed up. I don't know how successful this is going to be, but let's have a go. Right, so like I say, I tried this briefly last night, and the bolt was actually seized in the mechanism itself. I sprayed it with penetrating oil overnight, so the bolt rotates like that. What I haven't done yet is got the nut rotating on the end of the bolt. I'm going to use this spanner against the swing arm as a second person, if I can get the rag to stay on there. So that can be my oppo, holding the nut. Oh, she's gone. She has gone. Oh, very pleased with that. I honestly didn't expect that to be successful, but that has made my day a little bit already. First job. Right, before we pull those out, we need to support the swing arm, but I'm just going to carry on seeing if I can loosen the rest of these. Wow. We're off to a roaring start. Excellent. So the next one may be somewhat more difficult. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So that's 14. What's this side? Let's have a look. It is 17. Yeah. Okay. Same method as before. The spanner against the swing arm will be my second person. Let's just see if I can. Oh, okay, that's in fine fettle. Well, again, that couldn't really have gone better. It couldn't have gone easier. That was lovely. A thing of beauty. There we go. 19mm. 8mm Allen key. Okay, so that's pretty solid. So it's moving. Always a nice point where you get the first bit of movement out of it. There we go. Come loose a treat. Is the bolt seized in the swing arm? That's the question. I think we just got the answer there, didn't we? No. Yeah. Yeah. We got a bit of movement. A bit more penetrating oil. It is rotating, and that's a big plus. Try and get this freed up in the slot a little bit to have a chance of getting this out. And what I can do actually, I could leave that one in and take it off as part of the swing arm. Right, so we've got an axle stand now supporting the back of the swing arm. So with that in place, we can quite happily take the tension off that. Okay, while she's moving, that's always a nice place to be, isn't it? Okay, nice clean looking bolt there. There we go, shock absorber free. She's coming out a treat. Okay. Swing arm bolt out. There we go. Swing arm is free. Not even sure I'm going to get the chain out of that orifice because, oh yes we are, yes we are. Okay, that's just oh, that's what I didn't do before I did that. Free up the remote setting module. Oh, and in fact, I'm going to need to take out that fuel pump in order to do that. So let's try and get a bit of lube oil, penetrating oil in there, just to make it easier to rotate this. Oh, that was a game changer. Oh, we're hard up against that hose at the back. Okay, so this is a bit of a chicken and egg scenario. So hard up against that. So I don't know how we get that off there. Slide it through a bit, maybe. Oh, lift that up a bit, maybe. Don't know how we hold that there. How do we hold that there? Okay, fuel pump through there. Good. Take that out of there. Pull out of there. Shock absorber out. Awesome. So this here is the brake light switch. This is the back of the brake lever mechanism. All just slides out. Just need to undo this spring and take this out to pull this free. We need this off next because that gives me then clearance to take the exhaust off. That's the spring out. There we go. All free. Continuing the theme of amazing look today, that's gone nice and easy. The outer ones come undone quite easily as well. There we go, real one's free. Front one's free. Okay, I think that was a nut just dropped out. Right, there we go. Exhaust free, nut is there. Okay. So quite a good day today. Everything I wanted to get off has come off. Had a couple of semi-seized things, but nothing that was that difficult. So the back end looking very different now. So that's getting pretty close now. It'll soon be engine out time. Very exciting. So stick with me and we'll get on it again in a few days once I get a bit more time. At the end of the previous session, I'd left the fuel pump hanging out, so it was time to remove that and the associated fuel piping. Get that out from the other side, hopefully. So the carburettors are notoriously difficult to remove from this V-twin engine just because of the way they sit between the cylinders, and the rubbers they attach by are quite stiff, so it is always a bit of a struggle to get these off. For the reinstall I've got some new rubbers, so it should make it a bit easier, and we'll put a bit of lube on them in the way of
washing up liquid or something similar. So it should be okay putting them back together, but yeah, for the time being we'll continue the struggle of removing them.
We got it. Wow, that was tricky to get out.
With the carburettors now physically disconnected from the engine, I started the no less difficult task of final disconnections and manoeuvring the carburettors out through the frame aperture. Motorcycle manufacturers never make this easy, and this one certainly is quite tricky.
Unless they do just come out upwards. Maybe that is the way to do it. Okay, carburettors out. Right, welcome back from the other day. There's the carbs off. They're going to get lined up for a decent clean at some point. Possible vapor blasting. Give them a clean off first, see how they look. Then maybe move on to vapor blasting for those. So I'll keep you up to date on that. We're not going to do that today. So today what we're going to do is, back over on the bike, we're going to take off the front end. So we're going to get a jack underneath, support the engine, and we're going to take off the front end. And at that point, it's more or less ready for engine out. I've got an engine stand ordered, that's on its way. So once we get the engine out, engine stand arrives, engine on the stand, and then we'll start cleaning that up, seeing what that needs. But for today, front end off. Let's go.
So this is the method I've always used for supporting the front end of the bike. Once you've got the rear wheel off and you're about to take the front wheel / front end off.
Okay. Well, not super solid, but I think it's about as good as we're going to get. So let's just crack on, see what happens, keep an eye on it. Right, so next, let's get the bolts out of these headstock. In fact, next actually we'll undo that. So 30mm, 1/2 inch drive. Hopefully it shouldn't be too tight, but let's find out. Yeah, not tight at all. Okay. Okay, top yoke off. Oh, well, that was quite loose, wasn't it? That was very loose. I don't know off the top of my head what the torque setting is supposed to be on that, but I suspect it's more than that. Oh, okay, leave it on there for a sec. Okay. Oh dear, that is tight. Oh, yeah. Why is that so tight? That should just pop off. Shouldn't be tight at all. There we go. Not gonna balance. Bolt. So I'll have to try and free this off. She's done. Drop them out.
So this method simply hadn't worked properly this time. I'm not sure what I'd done differently, but I needed to find a better way of balancing the frame.
Still not balancing. Well, that was exciting. A bit too exciting. Whoa. Well, good morning. Welcome back. So, today is the big day. Engine out day. At least that's the plan. So, first of all, a bit of prep. We need to undo and remove most of the engine mounts and then leave a couple in. We're going to turn the frame on its side and we're going to lift the frame off the engine. Whoa. Well, it's gone.
So the idea here was to loosen off most of the engine mounts, reversing some of the bolts, etc., taking a couple of the bolts out, so that when the bike was eventually laid on its side, everything would be accessible from there, and some of the bolts could just be slid out to release the engine. So that was the plan. That was what we're doing here. Let's see how it pans out.
Okay, so we're fully prepped now, at least I think we are. Just waiting for my friend Philip to come and give me a hand, and we'll lay it on its side, remove the bolts and lift the frame off the engine. There is one bolt that's seized, but hopefully I can wiggle it through with that bracket still in place. But we'll see. Hopefully that's not a stopper. We'll have to give it a try and see where we get to. Right. So first thing is that. Okie dokie, right, go to me and just collapse that down, like so, and then if we go sideways and then we'll flip over.
You didn't decide to take the oil filter off then?
No, I thought, let's see how we get on.
Okay, you'll just fall out there. Some shim or something.
Is it a nut or something? Yeah. You got a little bit.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right, so I've got that and I've got that. That should just pull straight out. Comme ça. That should do the same.
We'll take these ready. We'll check you out with some new bondy bits.
Oh, they're the old ones off the Tenere. Went the wrong way.
So far it was all going very well, but this particular engine mount bolt started to cause us some real problems, and really didn't want to come out. I think it was just due to the angle it was on the ground maybe, and it was twisting on the bolt, and maybe I'll try and do it better next time, and we'll see how well it goes back in as well. But yeah, this did prove a bit of a problem.
Right, it's dropping off all over the shop.
Well, I can put it because it's obviously just gripping a little bit.
I think it was, yeah, because it came out of creek before.
Go on, yeah.
Really good for a second. There we go. Blimey,
Right.
that was hard work. Tangled. Looking good, isn't it? Look at that.
Look at that.
Whoa.
It's your mother's brother.
Right. A little bit buried. Oh, look at that. Success. Oh, I'm pleased with that.
So that marks the end of the strip down process. Thank you so much for staying with me and watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Now we move on to focus on the individual components, identifying parts that require replacement, etc. And then once we've done all that and cleaned everything up and painted where required, we'll crack on with the reassembly. I'll try and document as much as I can, and I'll post it whenever I've got a new episode. I really hope you want to continue with this journey. If you do, please join me and like and subscribe the videos. It really helps to keep the channel going. Thanks again for your support. Take care, and I'll see you really soon.